Welcome to the podcast Running Toward. This podcast tells stories of ordinary people who couldn't look away once they saw the hidden crisis in foster care and the families impacted. Our guests share heartbreak that led them to take reluctant and unexpected small, faithful steps toward the most vulnerable in their communities. Not because they had a plan, and not because they felt ready, but because they couldn't unsee their pain. You'll hear how people living normal lives discover that getting closer changed them. Their comfort mattered less, their grip on uncertainty faded, and their faith got feet in quiet, everyday ways. Ending the crisis for one or for all isn't a quick fix. It's a long, slow, often messy journey alongside one of the most overlooked and misunderstood groups in our community. Running Toward gives you a front row seat to the hidden crisis in foster care and the families impacted, and to the ordinary people who choose not to look away. Welcome back to Running Toward podcast. We're so excited that you join us again today. We're continuing our series this month with kinship caregivers, and it has a lot of different flavors. It can be grandparents raising grandkids, and as you're healed today, it could be somebody who just knew them at church. And so today we have Kizzie on our podcast, and I'm so excited to hear your story. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
I know, busy Friday. We were both coming in hot today.
Yes.
Well, tell me, what does a normal day look like in your home these days? Kids gone, you raising kids, working. What does all that look like?
I'm pretty much being lazy right now. I'm only 3 years in and being an empty nester.
Nice.
And so making adjustments on how to be an empty nester. They need a book about that. What happens after the kids leave.
They don't. It's what happens when you're expecting, and then they're like, figure out the rest.
Right. So it's like, I don't know if you've ever seen The Runaway Bride with Julia Roberts. I'm kind of figuring out what kind of eggs I like again, because I've always did all the things the kids wanted to do. So now I'm remodeling my house, getting rid of things, putting things in I like, getting rid of things because I don't cook anymore. So, well, I do cook, but very minimal. Yeah. And actually going to all the places I wanted to go when the kids were home, because now I don't have to pay $100 at Cheesecake Factory. Right. So I think it's more of an exploration of like trying to figure.
Rediscovering you. Huh?
Exactly. Yeah. Remembering that I like to read books and I don't have to worry about putting it down and the kid picking it up and taking it. So I think it's more exploratory now.
That's
You're
awesome.
just trying to figure this whole thing out.
Yeah.
There's no manual.
There is that. That is true.
Yes.
So let's flash back when you were momming, full tilt momming, and you actually spent side on the other side of visits where you were, in there supervising some of them. Was that your first experience in the foster care space from a work side?
Yes, that was my first experience. I knew that it existed, but I wasn't, I didn't have a lot of insight on it. Yeah. And when I took the job, I thought it was more like custody. Like I didn't know it was actually going to be connected to Health and Human Services until I actually started doing the job. And then I realized, okay, a lot of these families were in the process of, or in the, had a case with CPS. And so it was more or less trying to get the parents to reunite, but a process. For sure. So it was hard because they give you all the rules, right? You can't say anything really of like if a parent didn't bring a diaper, you can't supply them with the diaper. You can't do all these things. But in my heart, it's like, no, I want them to succeed. So, there were some times I just had to be like, hey, look, I have wipes in my, right? Because you want them to succeed. You want them to get reunified, right? You want them to back together. And then it was really hard to see because kids would cry. Like they had it set up to where the kids would leave after the family, after the parent or whoever it was. And so you would see the mother or whoever leave and the kids stay and they wait for their foster family and the emotion and all the things that went with it. So I just got to see that side, but they didn't really give you any context to the case, like if what was going on, how far along, and then even building relationships, most people they try to keep it consistent where you're the same person every time. And so you build a relationship with the people. Yeah. And so then you don't see them anymore for whatever reason. So you stuck like, okay, what happened?
Exactly.
Did they get the kids back? All the questions. But I never thought about okay, I want to be a foster parent. That was never a thought of like, oh, now that I've done this,
I'm
going to be a foster parent. It was just more or less like, in that moment. I needed extra income, so I was meeting the need, but also trying to be the best person I could be in this without breaking the rules.
And be a human in it.
So it's like, I think the hardest thing for me was because you again, we were not supposed to help them parent, quote unquote. They were supposed to come, but I used to keep this little bag with snacks in it, like with gummies and goldfish, because again, sometimes the visit could be an hour, and you're sitting there, and they supply toys and things like that, but there's no snacks or or like I said, baby wipes, or so I would have this little bag, and I'm like, I'm just gonna put it here. I'm not gonna tell them that that they can use it.
If you happen to see it,
if you happen to want a goldfish. And a goldfish. And so that was just the hardest part, like following the rules, but knowing that some parents just didn't have the knowledge of it to be able to do those things. Not because they just were neglectful or any of those things.
I'm sure some of them they didn't have they didn't have the model of parenting either. So they're flying blind too.
Right. Or even another hard one was when the parent did not show up and the kid was waiting and anticipating and they would just be there waiting, and we had a time that we had to cut off. Like they say, you can wait so long. I mean, it was under the discretion of the supervised visit person. They said there was a cutoff, but you could extend it, right? And so I was that one. We gonna wait to the final hour. They coming. But that was a big challenge. But I can honestly say, like, when, I never thought about being a foster parent, like in that situation. It's just more or less like being the best person I could be in that setting for the families.
So then what's the time frame between that kind of work and then the time at church when y'all kind of had like a church family meeting about a family in your community?
I would say maybe like 18 months before that happened.
So then you're part of a church, but a smaller church where you kind of everybody knows everybody because it's small enough that you just know everybody. And kind of take me back to that. What happened in that meeting when you said yes to something you didn't necessarily know you were saying yes to?
Well, it was, we had a regular church service. It was like, normal day.
Yeah.
Came to church, singing, worship, the whole thing. And then after church, we usually, we would have like a community lunch where we would have sandwiches, fruit, something just before you go home. Because we had people who traveled to our church from out of town.
Yeah.
So we would make sure everyone had something. And so this particular day, it was kind of like the pastor was like, call all the women to the lunch brunch area because they were discussing what was going on. The mom was there at that time. So we assumed that it was like more or less like, oh, mom needs support. So it's about a women issue. The men don't need to be here, right? And so then they started talking about what was going on. And I'm like, okay. So then the kids were all playing. The dads were supervising the kids. And then so pastor was like, okay, this is a family that needs somebody to take the kids. We do not want them to go into an unknown house.
Right.
Is there anyone willing to volunteer, take one kid, take four, somebody that's familiar with the kids.
Right.
So then the pastor was like, if you think that this is the case, go out and talk to your husband, come back, and we'll make a decision. So I was like, okay, my kids are friends with these kids. It's not a big thing, because I'm not thinking long term. I'm thinking like, okay, maybe a couple of weeks.
Yeah, we'll
figure it out a couple of weeks, and that's it. So then I go and ask my husband at the time, I'm like, hey, this is what's going on. Can we take the boys? Because there was boys and girls. Yeah. And I'm like, I can't do girls because that's not my lane.
Yeah.
And so he was like, I don't see a problem. Yeah, cool. We take the kids. I'm like, okay, cool. So we go in. I tell pastor, hey, we're willing to take the boys.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, cool. So we didn't even ask, like, how long we're going to keep them. We were just like, we can take them, right?
Yeah.
So we leave, and we have kids. And we have a small car, so we have kids sitting on top of each other's laps, and we're driving home. It didn't even dawn on me, like, what we didn't have. We didn't think about that. Like, we didn't think about, okay, we don't have beds, we don't have this. Because they spent the night before, and we just had air mattresses and pizza and, like a
this
weekend
is just
thing.
an extended sleepover, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So then they come and everything's going fine. Then I guess the reality of it all was when CPS called us and was like, oh, we need a...
So before that, state's not involved at all. You just show up at church and you leave with 4 boys.
Right. Because I think the mom already knew that CPS was about to get involved. So she was trying to get in front of the issue.
Yeah.
And then her sister was an actual member of the church. I mean, one of the sisters was a member and the other one was just coming. Like, she would come periodically, but her kids always came.
Yeah.
And so her sister's husband said no to the kids. Like, he was like, no. So that's when the church got involved. And so they started asking. Yeah. So, and we, like I said, we were very close with the family. Right. And so I didn't think anything about it. Like I said, it was... I
didn't even think, like, how are we going to get them all home?
No, we didn't even think about none of that. It was like, okay, y'all.
Is this like summer or during the school year?
It was summertime.
Okay, so not have to worry about school.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Okay, summertime.
Yeah, big extended vacation with family. We're just going to have fun for the summer.
Exactly.
Right.
So we didn't think about...
And then?
Yeah, then CPS came, and I was like, okay, this is serious. So they're asking us all these questions about our house. What do we do? How do we live? Do we have this? And I'm like, okay. Is this...
So the word kinship never came up?
No. Not until we actually
And you were not flashing back to your visits thinking, is this what I just signed up for?
Exactly. Yeah. No, none of that came to my mind. I was like, okay. And so I was like, this is just a formality, like still not
putting it all together.
Pulling it all together. It's a formality. Hey, they have to do their job, investigate. So they talked to us on the phone. Then they're like, oh, we want you to come in. I'm like, come in where? And they didn't live in Bexar County. They lived like in Comal or something like that. So we had to drive to that county and to that office. All the kids now. Our car don't fit all the kids. Yeah. So I'm like, okay. And that's when I got nervous. I was like, what is this? Because they already asked us every question under the sun. So it's like, okay, what's next? Like, what do we got to sign? Like, so we get there, and of course they interview the kids because they want to know about what's going on in their home with the mom, and mom's there. So then the kids are like, oh mom.
So what did the kids know at the time? They just thought they were going over to hang out with y'all's family for
that they were going to stay with us for a little bit. That's the only thing they were told, and they nothing else. And so then mom was there, and they did the whole interview process, and then they came to us, and they asked us to go into the office or whatever and talk to the caseworker, and she pulls out a safety plan, and I'm like, what is this? She was like, well, this plan is because they're going to be placed in your home, and you're going to be responsible for making decisions, and this is what do's and don'ts, basically, of what you can do, what mom can do. And I'm like, wait, what do you mean what mom can do? Like, they're in my house, but she still gets to tell me what to do. Right. And she was like, technically, but not technically. Like, so then I'm confused. So then, of course, my ex, that's the man thing comes out. Nobody's telling me what to do in my house with these, And so then she goes over the things. And so we still didn't say no. It was like, we just need to make some adjustments to these rules, but we're not saying no.
Right.
So again, we still don't have anybody giving us beds or nothing. We're just winging it at this point. Wow. Still,
So when you sign those papers, do they tell you, like, this is probably going to be 3 months, 6 months, 2 weeks? Like, do you have any idea?
They tell us.
And you didn't
nothing. Ask? They don't tell us anything. I'm just like, my main goal is, are they safe?
Yeah.
Do they, that's the thing. Like, are they safe? Like, period. That was my thing. And that was his thing, too. He's like, are they safe? Well, they gonna get fed. We'll figure it out. Like, we just need to make sure that they're safe. Yeah. Because they gave us some context to the situation they were coming from. So, we're just trying to make sure that they were safe. And so then, after that safety plan, that's when it got real for us. Yeah. That's when we realized, like, they're our responsibility. These are our kids, like, basically. And so that's when all of the mommy brain started kicking in. Like, where's the birth certificate? I need shower records. I need all the checklist things that I needed. And
what size clothes are they in? What do they like to eat? Are they allergic to anything?
Exactly.
Do they have any health concerns?
All the things.
Then all the unanswered questions that you didn't even think to ask because it was just for a couple days or weeks.
Right.
So like, then, I'm going to have to register somebody for something.
School. Yeah, and then my kids if
they get sick, I got to take them to the doctor and all
the things. And then my kids were in engineering club and football and all these. And I'm like, okay, so not only do I pay for 2 kids, now I'm like, okay. And then I was thinking, like, I don't want them to feel like they're not a part of us because then my kids are going here and they're here at home.
Right.
All the things. And then I'm like, okay, how do we get everybody everywhere? So then it was just like, okay, how do we do this now? And then I started asking the caseworker, like, okay, we need shoes, we need clothes, we need beds, we need all. Now, again, remember, they're not in Bexar County. They're in another county, so they can't really, they got to connect this to somebody in Bexar County and all the things. And I'm like, okay, we need this right now. We cannot wait for your people to call us. Like, I need this now. I need this stuff now. So then that's when we just started networking. We start calling, getting on the phone, calling people. Like, okay, this is what we need. What do you got?
Yeah.
Like, people will get bothered. Oh, I got a bed frame, or I have.
So is this where you went back to your church community?
Yeah.
Like, hey, we said yes. We need y'all to help.
Right. And then my family, because I have me and my husband at the time, we had a large community of family. Right. Mm-hmm. Not everybody was we didn't all like each other at the moment, but they were still our family. So it's like, hey, I know you go to the food bank. When you go to the food bank, pick me up a box. I can't get off from work to get it. Like, just get it. I'll get it after work. Like, I just started calling people. He started calling people he knew. And then people at work, we were telling them, hey, look, we have a bigger family now. Anything you can do to help us will be greatly appreciated. That's one thing I can't say I was happy about. We wasn't afraid to ask for help. We didn't have that pride thing of like. And then I feel like it was divine because I had just saved a bunch of money. Like, right before we got the kids, I had an opportunity where I got like a payout for something, and we just sat on it. We didn't use it. Like, it was like, for some reason, we just didn't use it. We didn't go on a vacation. We didn't anything. So that money really came in handy, came in the clutch, because we were able to get the toiletries, all the things, get more groceries for the immediate need. But we knew that it wasn't going to sustain us for the whole term. So it was like, we need our village to help us.
So did the department offer any help? Did they offer any resources? Did they connect you anywhere that was useful or helpful?
They did, but it was a long process. It's like, and then I was still working. I can't take off from work to do the things that you're saying I need to do, because then I don't have money to be able to continue to. And it was just a lot. And it was like, I would ask, well, can I send somebody in my place? Like, some of the women at the church didn't work. So it was like, okay, can I send somebody in proxy for me to be able to know we need you? We need you to. So I was like, okay, Jesus help me.
Yeah.
But, it was very challenging. And then I didn't know how to navigate the system. So it was like.
Those are none of the things that you'd ever utilized before. Yeah.
So I was like, okay, so I have to call the caseworker. The caseworker has to give me a referral, and the referral has. Okay. So then.
So many steps.
Yeah. So it was like, and then, they wouldn't offer any money, anything. It was more
did they tell you, like, hey, you can get licensed to be a kinship caregiver, and the state will give you some reimbursement? Yeah.
No, none of that. None of that.
Yeah.
It was just, they wanted the kids to be in a safe place.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, we have the kids in a safe place.
So you say yes to 4, don't have a car that fits them, don't have beds for them, realize that you've signed up for more than fun summer. I'm the cool aunt and uncle here,
right,
keeping everybody for the summer. And now the financial aspect of it comes in. Where did you talk to your village? Did you get all the things that you needed? Were there things that you still lacked? Where did you find some of the things that you needed, the gaps, to fill some of the gaps?
Well, I'm a thrifter, so that helped me. I'm like, I find anything for a bargain, right? So that was the thing. Like, me, my mom, and my mother-in-law, that's what we did on the weekends. Like, we hit up the garage sales and the thrift stores, and then we'd come back together. Like, everybody had a list. This is what we need. Let's break. Let's go.
Team.
And then we would come back at the end of it. This is what we got. And then like the bedding part was pretty easy. Well, it wasn't easy, but it was okay because both of my sons in their rooms, they had queen size beds. So they just kind of like 3 to a bed at the moment. I was like, no one's sleeping on the floor. I don't care. Non-negotiable. Somebody can take the sofa if they don't want to sleep 3 to a bed until we get a bed. And so then that was okay for a little bit. And then we got mattresses, and then we got frames. So that came from different people, like neighbors and all those things. And, some people in their neighborhood had the bulk pickup. Mm-hmm. So they were going around looking at the people, seeing if they were getting rid of bed frames and stuff like that. Yeah. So we were getting things slowly, but it was coming. Yeah. And then the clothes part, again, I'm a thrifter, so we would go into garage sales, 25 cents, all the things, right?
Because did you ever get any clothes for them? Or you just had to basically
Mom
recreate their whole
gave
work?
us stuff, but it didn't fit. Like it was either too small, too big, or it was damaged. Yeah. So we was just like, just scrap this. Like
we get new stuff.
Yeah, we got new stuff.
So how did the kids handle the transition from not knowing, and then now they're over here, and now they're, having to share beds, and then now they're getting beds, and they're realizing, okay, I'm staying here for a while. Like, how did that?
Well, I think for them, my first thing was getting them in activities. Like,
keep them busy.
Yeah. I was like, that was the first thing I did. We got them in football. We got them in all the things that the boys were doing. Like, that was the first thing. Like, they don't need to be worried about this, and they don't need to be watching us worry about this. So I just, off the jump,
go get busy. Yeah.
Get in there. So they were so active and stuff, I don't really think they had time to process it all. I mean, there were times that we had moments where they would cry or different things, like I want my mom, I want to talk to her, because she never couldn't call. That was none of the rules. She just didn't do it. So we had this thing in my family where we call them family meetings, and it was like an amnesty time. You could say whatever you wanted to say, and the only way anybody in the circle can respond is if you ask permission. And so we included them into the family. It was called Truth Hour. That's what we called it, Truth Hour. And we put a timer on for an hour. And at that time was when they got to say how they felt, like about, why do I have to be here? My mom is this, that. And no one could say anything unless they asked permission.
That's a parenting hack
and
right
so,
there. So
I think that helped them get through it because they could be their true selves about how they felt, and there was no judgment, there was nothing. Like, and if we had questions, we had to ask. I had to say, okay, you said this, can I ask a question about what you said? And if they said no, we had to respect the no. And so I think that helped them too, to see like, it was a part of it. And even like with the car situation, like they will always argue about who wants to ride with who and all these things. So that was one of the things we had in Truth Hours. Like, okay, so why don't kid A want to ride with kid B? What is the issue? Yeah. And then they had to talk about what the issue was. We couldn't pass judgment. We couldn't do all that. You just had to speak why kid A didn't want to ride with kid B. And then we could ask a question like, okay, well, what is the resolution to this? Like, how do we solve this kid A and kid B problem? And anybody in the circle could answer it, like from the youngest to the oldest. And so that helped a lot too, because it resolved problems when they would be fighting about stuff.
And y'all are like a team. Like, it's a problem. We all have a problem. We're all going to solve it.
Right. And so it was like, that helped out a lot. And then another thing, my boys, they had a business. They wasn't a business at first, but it was like a volunteer type thing where they would go around the neighborhood. We had a lot of elderly and retired military in our neighborhood. And so the boys would go help the neighbors take the trash out. So they turned into a business where they started charging the neighbors $2 to take the big trash can out and an extra $1 for recycle bin, because it was just a little square thing at the time. And then they charge $1 if you wanted to take it back. So they could do $3, $4, $5, like $5 they could make off of one house. So then that was the thing for the boys, like to make money to do extra stuff like movies and all that stuff. So I was like, okay, everybody got to work. If we gonna have this business, everybody got to do it.
That's great.
And so then we paired them up, because we had 2 littles that were in 2nd grade and everybody else was upper grade. And so we paired them up and gave them the chore, whatever they did, and they came up with it and they did it. So I think that's where a lot of the emotional part helped, because They were so busy doing stuff in football and engineering camp, trash business, or playing basketball, something. We always try to find some type of positive activity to where, and we were always communicating. Like, if there was a fight, like you did this, all right, do we need a family meeting? And sometimes they didn't like it because it interrupts what they were doing. So that means they had to stop what they're doing for an hour.
And go have a meeting.
Yeah. So they were like, no.
We'll figure it out.
We got it. We don't need truth hour. No, we figure it out. So that was, and then I think systems and routines, I was a teacher by trade. So I knew how to do those systems and routines and the charts and all that.
And that provides security. Like, kids feel safe in that. When there's routines.
There's structure, structure. And they already knew, like, they had their chores. If I washed, you fold, and all the things. So, but I think that's what kept them. I think keeping them busy and making sure they were included kept all the other stuff from being a factor. Like, not having a bed and not having this, not having that, because even like some holidays still, when they are in town, they'll get with my boys and they talk about that, but they don't talk about what they didn't have. Yeah. They talk about all the funny stories and experiences, right? Yeah. So I think that was what helped us do it, of them not understanding that, I don't know how long my mom's not going to be here. I mean, they have moments, but for the most part, it was like, we're just in there.
So now your kinship, did you all do visits? So were you on the other side of the house now? You started out on the supervising side. Now are you on the taking your kids to a visit side?
Well, we did, but it was more, we didn't have to go to like the actual CPS building. We could go to McDonald's. We get to choose the place. Yeah. But one thing I can say about the mom in this regard, she didn't have them on a roller coaster of emotions. She would just call her sister and be like, I'm not coming. Like, so it wasn't something that we had to take them and sit there and they're waiting, right? She would just be like, she never called us. She could call us, but she would call her sister and be like, I'm not coming. So then it was just like, we never told the kids. We never said like, today is your visit day. Yeah. We just waited until to see if they would tell us yes. They didn't. All right, keep this party going.
That is a foster parent and kinship parent hack right there, is don't tell them the schedule of the visits, because it just leads to this roller coaster of emotions. Right. Whether it happens or doesn't, just tell them right before you get there if it actually is going to happen. That way they don't have to be disappointed or feel the anxiety of it coming up.
I think the hardest part for us is the aunt. We would try to make the visit with the aunt instead of the mom, so they still had connection to their family, and they could see their sisters, because she would pick up the girls so they could interact with their sisters. But it was hard because we had a system. Like, I kept everything on the schedule, and she didn't have a schedule. So she'd be calling me as we go to football practice, like can they? And I'm like, no. Right. Or she'll say, like, can they come over during the week and I'll take them to school? We don't do sleepovers during the week. Like, sorry, but not sorry. Yeah. Right? And so then that created tension. For sure. For us, because it was like, you're not their family. Like, I'm their aunt and all these things, right? And I'm like, I get it, but you kind of gave me the right to do this when you asked me to take the kids.
And I'm doing what I think is best for these boys. Right. Which is schedule and routine and football and all the things.
Right. And then we noticed too that when we did allow the boys to go with her on the weekend, it was all these issues when they came back. Like I guess, I don't know if they would be talking about what happened, or I don't know.
Don't know what's
right. So when we come back and it's like, oh, you're not my mom. I'm like, I've never said I was your mom, but okay. Yeah. We'll go with that today. Yeah. Right? But it was just all these things, emotional things. Uh-huh. And so it got to the point where we just stopped that from happening too, because they never said we had to. Yeah, we were just doing a courtesy for her. Yeah. So that was a big thing, because then we go to church together. So then it was like, we had to have a meeting with her husband, and the pastor, and all these things, because now it was spilling over into this small community, right?
Where everybody knows each other. Everybody knows what's going on.
Yeah. So then But one thing I could say is that I appreciate the pastor for saying, like, explaining them what consistency and structure does for children. Mm-hmm. And I think that helped the relationship, too, that I wasn't trying to steal the kids away. Right. I was just trying to create structure and consistency for the children. Yeah. And so I think once that was established, then we had a better relationship. But before, it was a lot.
So you said you had big family that kind of helped out. How did y'all kind of spontaneously taking in 4 kids, how did that impact all your family around you? Were they supportive? Were they like, what are you doing? You've lost your mind? Or probably all versions of that?
Well, it was mixed, right?
Yeah.
Well, with my dad's side of the family, my grandmother was like the pillar in the community. She was one of those people, like, you hungry, you can come and eat. There was no door closed with her, right? So that was already a tradition that was established. So when we would go to cookouts with them, it was like, no one asked questions. Like, they was like, come on, go play with the kids. Yeah. Get a hot dog. Yeah. There was no big deal. It was just more kids. Yeah. And so then when I explained to them the situation, then they were like, more, how can we help? Yeah. You know? But it wasn't a big thing. But with my mom's family, it was more like all questions, like, why did you have to do it? But, I shielded the kids from it because we didn't go to activities as much with them because I know their opinions. Yeah. And so, but my father's family, everyone was on board. It was like, it really hurt and hit them when they left. Like, it really took a toll on my dad's family because, again, they were involved. They were
invested.
Yeah, like one of my siblings had a van, so we borrowed their van. Like, they were really invested in making sure we had what we needed. Yeah. So, yeah, it was really hard.
And that's one of the things we at the Alliance we try to work on is that when, like, you stepped up and said yes at your church, ultimately, you needed all your people to say yes, too, because there's no way you could have done that on your own. Mm-mm. And you kept 4 kids out of probably being split up even more than they were. And, ending up in different places, may or may not seeing each other and going to a complete stranger's home. They had familiarity with you and your boys. But that's what that takes is when you guys take the heavy load, say yes, you also need everybody else coming alongside of you and saying, I'll go find you a bed. I'll go grab the box of food. I'll go, my son, he grew out of these clothes. Here's the, all these things to help walk alongside you.
Yeah. It was, I can honestly say that it grew our family closer together. Yeah. Even with my husband at the time, we grew closer together. Because we depended on each other's strengths to make things happen. Right. Where when it was just the 2, it was like, oh, well, one person had more weight than the other. But now we have a house full of kids. So it's like we all had to shift the weight. So the strengths of one another, we grew an appreciation for it. Yeah. And it helped us be able to manage with the kids. Because it was like the way our house was set up, was the master was on one side and the kids were on the other side. Like, they had their own little compound. But it was like, now it was like, no, we have to figure out how to make all this work because they cannot just be over there.
It's not going to go well.
Who just doing their own thing. So it was really cool. And we just made sure we had activities. One of my foster babies, he loved to read, and I'm a reader. And so he would often find himself off to himself, like in a book. So I incorporated, we all had to read. Like, you didn't have to do it all day, but you have 30 minutes you have to read. Right. Find a book, and you have to read it. So he didn't feel like the outcast. So we try to incorporate everybody's likes into things. And then I actually found out that one of my foster babies couldn't read because he would pick Dr. Seuss books. Those are the books that he heard. And so he knew the pages because he heard the books all the time. So then I was like, okay, we're going to pick a different book. And then that's when I realized he was just reading memory.
Smart enough to memorize it.
And so then I was like, oh, no, this is not happening. So then I started teaching him how to read. Yeah. And he was already in 2nd grade. And so...
And the school hadn't...
No. Because he was good at...
That's a smart kid that can fake it until 2nd grade.
He's good at memorizing. He's good at memorizing everything. Now, math was his thing. Like, numbers, he just couldn't read. So then we had to we started teaching them how to read and starting to asking them, okay, what do you want to be when you grow up? And it was a journey. It was really a journey.
So how long is this season of having these kids and kind of in limbo of not knowing what the final outcome is?
Well, we had them a total of 6 months.
Yeah.
In our home, and a lot of stuff we just shielded them from it because we figured, let the adults handle the adult stuff, right? If they ask questions, we didn't lie to them, we didn't make some fairy tale thing up. But if we didn't have to tell them, we didn't. We wanted to have a childhood. We wanted them to be, as normal as we could make the situation for them. I mean, I don't know. I just felt like everything was moving so fast. We didn't have time to think about anything else. The main priorities that we all agreed in our family meeting was safety, and the kids said fun. Safety, fun, and security. And so then I asked them, what does security look like? And so one of our foster babies said, we don't like to be yelled at. And so then another one of our foster babies said, my stuff is just my stuff. And so we, had those 3 things, right? The fun, safety, security. Those were the 3 things that we stuck to, right? So as an adult, we had to make sure we stayed with that, right?
Yeah.
What does that look like? How does that feel? All the things, right? So I think that's what kept us on target, as far as everything when it comes to, and they got to tell us when we didn't do it. It was I didn't feel very safe when you did that, or different things. So I think that helped, and church helped too, because we they already had some structure with the church, they knew, and just if something was going on and I didn't have an answer, I'm like, okay, we just gonna pray. Come on, y'all. We gonna pray. I don't know. We gonna pray. And that wasn't a fight, you know what I'm saying? Because they already had that foundation where if maybe they didn't, it might be a little bit of a tussle. But because they already had that foundation, it helped where it was I don't have an answer, but okay, we gonna pray.
Yeah.
And it became one of those things too, where something would happen and the boys would be like, oh, so we finna pray about it? Yep. Let's go right ahead, y'all. Since you said something.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, we're going to pray about it. So, yeah.
So 6 months in, transition happens. How are you feeling about that? How did that change the dynamics in the family and everything else?
That was not a good thing. I might get a little emotional about this. Well, so initially I had read up on some things, and it said if you don't have contact with the mom for so long, then I can adopt the kids, right? Without her seeking her approval, I guess you could say. And so I was hoping, I was praying, I was oh Jesus, come on, let this timeline, come on, because I was gonna adopt them. We had already talked about it. They are, we were looking for another house, all the things, because these are my kids. We're not giving them up. And so I think the mom knew how to work the system. She knew the laws better than we did. So right before, it was 2 or 3 days before that timeline, she calls. And I'm like, So then the caseworker was like, oh, she's met all the requirements and all these things. And so they had this plan of I guess a gradual release or whatever, where they go with mom on the weekends, and then they come back, and then they can go more days. And but every time they went with mom, all the systems and everything was out the window. There was rebelliousness. It was all these emotionals. They were yelling at us. They were all the things, and it was just trying to reason with them. And we would have the meetings, and I don't want to go to the meetings. And I'm okay, remember safety, fun, security, and it was just all this pushback and all the things, and I cried a lot. It was oh, what happened to my babies? And one day, it was the hardest decision I had to make. It was we gotta fast forward this, because now my kids, my biological kids, were feeling the impact of it. They
for sure
were like, Mom, I don't understand why he's fighting me. He's this. He's, they were already calling it my brother. He's like, Mom, I don't know why my brother is fighting me. I didn't do anything. And I don't understand this. And it was becoming dangerous in the household. Like it was becoming really toxic. And so it was like, I had to make a decision to fast forward the transition process, right? And so two of my fosters didn't want to go back. They were like, no, I don't want to. And I would ask the caseworker, like, what can we do? They don't want to go. They don't. Yeah. And they would not very much help. And then getting an attorney was expensive, and we didn't have the monies. And we tried to find free services for legal, and it was on the waiting list and all the things. And it was just like, oh my God, how do I help them? They don't want to go back. It was just hard. It was so hard because it was like, my kids, oh my God, they cried. It was like, Mom, why did we have to send them back? Like, why did they gotta go? Because they didn't understand the system either, because we didn't talk about that with them either. And it was like trying to explain to them, like, well, their mom said they want her to come home and all the things. And they were worried. They were like, when we go back, can we take our stuff? Because by then they have accumulated all these things, toys, books, all the things. And we're like, and we had bought a new car. We had all the things. And so it was hard. It was one of those things, like, the mom wouldn't really talk to us. It was, when we did talk, I would just be like, well, can they still come on the weekends? Like, trying to figure out a way for the kids that didn't want to go to still have some kind of sense of staying with us. But, no, these are my kids. I'm like, okay, Right. Again, the caseworker wasn't very accessible for us to know what to do, what our rights were, where they weren't, all the things. They were in school. They were just excelling in school, whereas before they was not. It was just
clearly not reading in second grade.
It was just a lot. And so one day, me and my husband at the time, we were like, okay, we just got to do it. We got to rip the Band-Aid off. We can't. This is tearing us apart. Trying to do this whole back and forth gradual release thing. And so I can remember the day like yesterday. It was like we had these Tupperware containers, and we put all the things in. And at the time, they were living with their grandmother, and grandma only had like a 2-bedroom little house. And it wasn't like, it was up to code, but it wasn't like,
the bar's pretty low.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we had put everything they could. We asked them, okay, what do you want to take? What do you want to keep? We let them choose. And they put everything in their containers, and we drove them home. And the grandma had tears in her eyes because Mom wasn't even there to receive the kids. Grandma was there. And she had tears in her eyes, and she didn't want us to bring them. She said, she was like, don't bring them. Like, but we had already talked to the people and told them. And she couldn't even watch us drop them off. She seen us, she came out, she greeted us, and she went back inside because she was so emotional. She was like, this is a big mistake, right? And so the boys, they cried. We all cried. We just did the whole thing. And I just had to get in the car. I was like, we got to go. We just got to go. Like, because if not, I'm snatching them all back in the car.
Yeah. We're going to Mexico, and now they're going to see us again.
Yeah, so it's just very hard. It's like everybody's crying, except for the little ones. They're like, oh, grandma. The older ones kind of had an understanding of what they were going back to, right?
Yeah, they'd been in it longer.
Yeah, and so, it was just hard. And for a little while, 2 of the boys would come on weekends because they would come in the church, with the church. They had a van that they would get on, and so they would come because we had services on Friday evenings and then again on Sunday. And so they would come on Friday on the van and stay with us and then go back on Sundays after church. And then Mom didn't like it because they were still calling our home and not her home. And so they were like, I want to go home for, the weekends. Yeah. And so she didn't like that. So then she started making it challenging for them to catch the van where they wake up late or all the things. And so it just stopped. Yeah. It was just so hard because it's like to see them excel in school and have sports and them create a business, all of them together and do all the things. And not to say it wasn't hard, because it was like we had one of our babies, he had incontinence issues, and he would get in trouble when he was at home with his mom, and so he would hide it from us. He would just put it under the sink. Like, he would change his undies and put it under the sink until we just smelt it one day. And then he didn't have that issue. We worked with him through it, and we did all the things, right? And then we had another one who would have nightmares. He would scream. And so, again, we worked through that. And, it was just a process of it all. But just to see them thrive, to go home, to...
go backwards.
Yeah. I mean, one of our babies, he got arrested. He... for robbery and where they were from. Then to see him, and it was on the news. It was like their town is small, so it was on the news, and just to see that, it's like...
Yeah, because that's not who you know him to be.
No, just to see it, it was like so hard, and I didn't know whether to reach out, not to reach out, all the things, and it was just hard. It was a very hard thing to do. And sometimes, like, I wondered, did I do enough, like, to keep them? Like, should I, whatever. But I just didn't have the means. Like, I didn't have money for a lawyer.
And ultimately, the system, kinship trumps. I mean, biological family trumps everything. So if she checked her boxes, there was really no shot that y'all had even if you'd hired an attorney, the court still would have ruled in mom's favor. It's just the way the system is. Unfortunately, there's what, it sounds like you were raising your voice to be, and a lot of people do here. And then there's where the state's like minimum of, well, they're not gonna experience, this or this, so they can go home.
Yeah,
but it doesn't mean that they're gonna flourish and thrive and grow into the men that they were created to be, because now they're not in an environment that encourages that, supports that, is able to facilitate that.
Yeah, it's just hard because it's like, even to this day, it's like when we do get to talk, it's like, they're my babies. Like, I don't, they're my kids. They're just not my foster. They're my kids. And it's like, when something happens to them, it happens to us. Like, even with my dad's family, it was like so hard, like, to let go of that. And, it was just a very challenging situation, and I don't know. I just didn't like it, and I feel like, I don't know, something has to be done differently. Like, something has to be done differently.
For sure.
Because mom wasn't ready to take them. Because even after, I'll never forget, after the babies went back, our youngest baby birthday, and he wanted a Spider-Man birthday party, and the pastor had said we could give him a party at the church. And so I didn't have a lot of money, but we went to the dollar store, got some red and blue, and got cupcakes, and put the they put the little it wasn't expensive at all, right? And we did it, and mom was so upset. Like, she was so mad because it made her look like, I guess, a bad parent, and us look like the good parents or whatever. And I'm like, why can't it just be a team effort? Like, why does it have to be like, who's this? As long as he's happy, that's all that matters. The kids were happy. Everybody was happy. She was the only one that was upset about it. And so...
that's when there's a difference between being focused on the kid and being focused on self.
Right.
And that's a difference.
Yeah. It's just, I mean, with time I've gotten better, but I just be like, oh, those are my kids. Like, I don't care what anybody says. They're my kids. But it's just.
So despite all the clearly still emotional years afterwards, would you change what you said in that church meeting?
No.
Yeah.
Not for a second.
Yeah.
No. Mm-mm. I mean, because I learned so much about myself.
Say more about that.
Patience.
Or lack thereof.
Yes. And with the family meetings, it got me to see the kids' perspective.
Yeah.
Because, people assume that kids go through certain things like, oh, they need this. They assume what they need, right?
Yeah.
But it's simple as just don't touch my stuff. Like, okay, so I can, I can wash it. I can come wash it. I can do all that, but just put it back. Like,
yeah.
Okay, that's simple. Like, that was it. Like, just don't touch my stuff. I'm like,
got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
To like, I guess you could say my kids, my foster kids had more street sense, whereas my biological kids didn't. So when they would go outside and certain things would happen, like one time they were playing basketball and the big kids came and they were like taking over the court, and my foster kid was like, dude, let's just go home. Whereas my biological son was like, no, we need to play. He's like, no, like, we gotta go. Like, just those things, like helping them understand, like, okay,
this is the rules.
Yeah, like what you know to be true and what we know to be true.
Right.
It's two different things. And it helped them out too. Like, I just learned so much about what kids think, like what they think they need versus what we think they need. Mm-hmm. In some of the things, like how they, the order of the restroom and how they thought about it. We would say older kids.
Yeah, younger.
Right. But no, they came up with a whole system. The person that takes the longest goes last. And then, so it's like,
if you're efficient, you're in first. If you're not,
right.
If there's cold water, that's on you. You took too long.
Exactly. So it's just like how they think about things and how they manage. And even like you asked about them sleeping in the bed together. The only thing they cared about, his feet stinking, he farts, and all those things, right? There was no like, I want my own bed. And they were just happy to be in the bed. Yeah. They wasn't thinking about all that other stuff, right? So it's like, okay, the things that we make a big deal about is not a big thing for them. Right. It's like we just make a big deal about it. And so that's what I learned too, and just how much community matters, a lot of times people's pride, they're like, I don't want people to know. And but we need our community, so everybody needs to know, And
everybody will need community at some point.
Right.
So if you can't give help and not ask for help when you need it too.
Yeah, so it's like, okay. And so it took me a while though, because after they left, I kind of went into a shell, like... And I was mad at the
grieving. Too.
Yeah,
it's a loss. They call it in the foster space. We call it ambiguous loss because it's a loss, but it's not a death.
Right.
Like there's no closure per se. It's a loss that you may never know the rest of the story. Like
right.
You said, you see him on TV, and you're like, well, what led up to that? Like, because you don't. And it's a harder loss because there's no beginning and end. It's just this ambiguous. Are they okay? Are they not okay? Are they missing us? Are they thriving?
Right. And then it also got me thinking too, like, what is my lane in the foster system? Like, I honestly, going through that experience, I don't think I possibly could do the foster parent where like I have 3 fosters and they get adopted and I'm like, I had a hard time with that. So
you're like Mama Bear Claus.
Yeah, like I don't know. I probably would have a big old house full of adopted kids because nobody's leaving. Once you come in,
you're not leaving.
The buck stops here, right? But I knew that was unrealistic, so it's like, okay, how do I still help, but in the lane that I can help, right?
Yeah.
And so it was more or less, okay, informing people about what it's about or making sure, like, people get what they need. Like when there's things or school supplies or shoes or whatever it is, like, okay, I'm on it. I'm going to get it. Or raising money for APN at the church is like, okay, I know I can do that part. Yeah. I know that is just not my calling to have the babies there. Because again, I'm telling you, I already told it. I tell people, if I get the kid, there's no leaving this house. Like, these are my kids. It's kind of like, in my classroom, I always tell the kids, you might go to the next grade, but you still my kid. Like,
right.
Let's not get that twisted.
Right.
They just borrowing you for a little bit, right? I'm still the parent, right? But I knew that was a challenge for me. Like, just, I don't, I guess if I did it more, because you always have these things and you say you can't do whatever, but I think if I would have went from kinship to fostering, then maybe so. But because there was such a gap in between, it was like, I don't know if I could experience that in the same way, like emotionally.
What would you say to kind of wrap up here at the end? If there's other foster families listening to or kinship families listening to this podcast, what would be your words of encouragement or wisdom that you would give to these kinship families who are out in the middle of what you experience?
One, make sure your yes is a yes. Don't say yes and then say no, because these babies don't need that.
Yep.
If you're saying yes, make sure your yes all the way, even on the bad days. Make sure your yes is still a yes. And that they feel the yes, that the kids feel the yes every day, even in the rough days. Like, and to be vocal, use your community, people that aren't even in your immediate circle. Like, I know I would talk to the mailman. Look, we got these kids in here. What do you know? Do you know anybody? You deliver the mail. You talk to people. Like, I'm telling everybody, use your resources. You never know who knows who and what to be able to get what you need. And that's what helped us, because, again, it was like there were some neighbors that learned through the mailman that we had the kids. It was like...
The mailman was your advocate.
Yeah, like, because they would have stuff out on the curb or something like that. And he'd be like, oh, yeah, such house number 2, something. Yeah. Oh, they got these kids. Can they come get this and, take it or whatever. And so some of this stuff, that's how we got it. Like,
that's awesome.
So I think... with the age of social media, you don't necessarily have to do all of that anymore. You can do an instant message, Instagram post or whatever. But I think that's the main thing. Make sure that you don't suffer in silence. Be verbal, be vocal. And I think, too, don't be afraid to say, like, I don't got it. Like, not resource-wise, but emotional. Because there were days that I did call friends and be crying and be like, I am screwing this all the way up or whatever it is. But it helps. Like, most of my friends really didn't give opinions. They just listened and let me get it out. And if it was something they could resolve, they would resolve it. But for the most part, just being able to speak it helped me go to the next thing, to keep my yes a yes. Just get it all out and then... Buckle up, buttercup, go to the next thing. But I would say those are the main things that I had challenges with, that I think other families could help, could benefit them, those things. Make sure your yes is yes every day, because the kids feel it. Like, energy is everything. Like, I could have a bad day at work, and it had nothing to do with them. And they like, what'd I do? Is this me? What I need? Or you could see them doing things to try to make me happy, like, oh, I drew you this picture, and then them not realizing, okay, this has nothing to do with you.
Right.
It's just
life.
A day at work. Like, so then I had to check myself, like, okay, they don't know that you had a bad day at work. Like, come in with the ready.
Yeah.
And so, those things. Make sure your yes is yes and they feel it, and use your community, because I probably would have been broke after everything. I would have been needing a house. But the community and the village was everything. Like, those are the main things.
That is some wisdom right there. Yes. You got a lot of wisdom. You should write a book on parenting. I love the family meeting thing. That's a cool idea. But thank you so much for sharing your story. This was been a blessing to me. Like, I'm like thinking now I should have had family meetings when my kids are growing up. But so today, if you enjoyed this, share it with a friend that's doing kinship. Share it with a parent. Like, there's some great parenting wisdom here. But if you're in the thick of it with kinship, man, find your community and make sure your yes is yes, and get some other people to get on board with your yes. And we'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us.